The decision to drop the atomic bomb on Hiroshima was ultimately made by President Harry S. Truman. Truman had become president in April 1945, following the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt. By the time of the decision in August, the U.S. was still engaged in a brutal war with Japan, and Truman was under immense pressure to find a way to bring about a swift end to the conflict. Here's a brief overview of how the decision came about. Manhattan Project. The U.S. had been working on developing nuclear weapons since the 1930s through the secret Manhattan Project, and by mid-1945, the first bombs were ready for use. The project was headed by scientists like J. Robert Oppenheimer and was kept secret from the public and most government officials until its completion. Advice from the military and scientists. Truman had advisors and military leaders who gave input. Key figures like General Leslie Groves, who oversaw the Manhattan Project, and Secretary of War Henry Stimson were strongly in favor of using the bomb to end the war. Additionally, prominent scientists, including some who had worked on the bomb, argued for its use as a way to force Japan to surrender and avoid a costly invasion. The U.S. had been in a brutal, protracted war with Japan, and an invasion of Japan's home islands was expected to result in heavy casualties on both sides. Japan showed no signs of surrendering, and the U.S. military anticipated that an invasion would take many more months, possibly causing hundreds of thousands of American and Japanese deaths. The Potsdam Declaration. In July 1945, the Allied powers, U.S., U.K., and China, issued the Potsdam Declaration, calling for Japan's unconditional surrender. Japan rejected the terms, signaling that they would continue to fight. Final decision. Truman and his advisors ultimately believed that using the atomic bomb would force Japan to surrender quickly and save lives in the long term by avoiding an invasion. After considering other options, including of the bomb or continuing conventional bombings, Truman authorized the use of the atomic bomb. On August 6, 1945, the Enola Gay dropped Little Boy on Hiroshima, followed by Fat Man on Nagasaki 3 days later. Japan surrendered on August 15, 1945, officially ending war. The name Little Boy was given to the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima for a few reasons, though the exact motivation behind the choice is not entirely clear. Here's what's known. 1. Size and shape. Little Boy was the first atomic bomb ever used in warfare. It was relatively long and thin compared to the other atomic bomb, the Fat Man bomb dropped on Nagasaki 3 days later, which had a rounder, more compact shape. The term Little Boy may have been chosen simply because of its more elongated and slimmer design, making it little in comparison to Fat Man. During the Manhattan Project, the U.S. project to develop nuclear weapons, the bombs were given code names that were often simple and somewhat whimsical. For example, Fat Man was chosen for its larger, rounder design, while Little Boy followed this naming convention. Psychological impact. The names might have also been meant to contrast the devastation they would unleash. Little Boy was a somewhat unassuming name that belied the weapon's catastrophic power, which might have been intended to keep the project secretive and even somewhat less alarming in conversation. In any case, the bombs, despite their relatively innocuous-sounding names, had an unprecedented and tragic impact on the world, leading to the end of WD-40, but also initiating a new era of nuclear weapons and global political tension.